Welcome, everybody. I'm Marco, and I'm here with the team from Fort Gotten. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. I love the artwork in the project. It's been I've been keeping an eye on it since the beginning. Well, at least since the Cardano beginning that I heard about it. So why don't you take a minute and we'll start with was it Sampo?
Yeah,
And
that's it.
introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your role with the project.
Sure. My name is Sam. I go by Sample on Discord right now and on the project. Um, I'm the main illustrator right now, and I also play a role with my friends of um, having a little bit of the creative direction of the project. And the idea behind my participation here is creating different art assets, dynamics, and we play an active role of co-creation with my teammates to create the best experience we can make here in NFTs.
Nice. And Carlos?
Well, I'm Carlos Arneque. Most people call me Arneque. And regarding the project, I'm supposedly the marketing guy, but that's something we all do together. Yeah, but I'm the one who ends up writing the copies and doing the website. And yeah, also like the creative direction, as Sam said, is something we do together. So it's like a really collaborative project. But my main thing is like communication and copywriting and stories and writing.
Well, it's an amazing website. I'll go ahead and show it real quick because
Thank you.
That's our
um,
Arneke, yeah.
yeah, it's very very well done. I love it. And so yeah, so everybody, when you get a chance after this, check out the website. It's down below. But
Have you heard the little audio intro in the website?
uh, not yet. But we'll say that
Okay.
maybe for a little bit later. I'm not quite sure if the audio comes through on the screen shares or not. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
um,
Well,
but
I'm
why
Rob.
don't we? Okay, Rob.
I'm Robert on Discord, and we're pretty much involved in every single aspect of the project. But I'm in charge of a little bit of the development of the art generation
Mhm.
and the social media.
Great. Well, thanks again for joining us. And um, Carlos, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the project came together?
Well, I actually think Sam is the perfect one to answer that because it came to be as an idea he had because Sam has always been drawing and illustrating. So he started doing this thing, and after a couple talks, it ended up being forgotten. But I don't know if you want to answer that, Sam, because I think you can give a much better answer.
Well, yeah. Why don't you
Sure,
tell us a little bit about the art style and how you came up with that? And,
sure. So this is not like the first project all of us make together. But this project itself, it started by making all these illustrations about this forgotten world and all these explorations about um, like a post-apocalyptic vibe and having art related and all these like self-expression of people and the main idea was behind the phrase about not forgetting about your inner child.
mhm.
Like people always say that when you grow up and you start making adult stuff, most of the people start losing that connection with their inner child. That's whatever they see as in the creative as a creative expression. It might
Mhm.
be dancing, it might be singing, drawing, or poetry or writing, whatever.
The loss of
As
innocence, in a
Yeah,
sense.
so that innocence and that um, constant lookout for new things, for new discoveries, like the loss of fear that kids live.
Hmm.
It is known that as we grow up, that goes fading away. So the idea behind this was, where does these children go?
Right.
where does the children that lost the connection with their adult, like their adult self, where do they go? So we started building this universe that it's called Forgotten, and here's where all the inner children that were left away are living there.
As you can see behind me, right? I grew up pretty fast, right? And so I didn't really have much of a childhood in a sense, you know. So that's why I try to live it out now, right? Because as you know, especially all over the world, some children never get a chance to be children, right? And I was lucky enough. Both of my parents worked when I was very young. Like my mom worked the night shift from like 2:30 to midnight, and my dad would be gone for like 3 months at a time to plant trees and stuff in the Northwest. And so it was basically me at like 10 years old watching my two younger sisters. And so I grew up pretty fast, and I didn't really have the normal like childhood in a sense. And even then, that I was blessed enough to have at least that, right? In some countries, kids are going to war, kids are put, in situations, and even here in the United States, there's kids that are forced into the drug trade, on lookouts and corners and stuff all over the place. So there's a lot of children, even in the U.S. and many countries around the world that are forgotten or that are lost in the system. That I don't know if you guys ever seen the TV show The Wire, but they make in part of like season 4, there's a great season where they actually focus on the middle schools. And so the idea behind this project and the forgotten children and the loss of innocence, I can definitely see that coming through in the project. So nice job.
Yeah, and those countries that you're talking about, El Salvador is one of them. And one of the things that when we started making this project about like having all these things coming together and a better structure for it, and not just self-expression of a concept, but actually something that could work in general to inspire people to connect to their creativity and such. El Salvador was one of the pillars for it, right? So most of the landscapes and stuffs that are drawn for the universe are inspired by the surroundings of the country, and it actually looks like a lot of wasteland sometimes, next to something super beautiful in paradise. But we have something like very DIY-ish feeling for the country. And we were looking for an opportunity to use our creative input to produce or to inspire more creative input for our country too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that something beautiful versus next to something dark. I lived in the Upper West Side of Manhattan for about 14 years, and so you'd have like Central Park and Riverside, park just a few blocks away from each other, and then if you just went like 5 or 6 blocks in the other direction, you had nothing but like project buildings. So you had like million dollar like
those contrasts.
Yeah, like and it was only just a few blocks away, not even a quarter of a mile, right? And it's just night and day difference. And I know that's like the same like in Hawaii, a lot of other places too, where you have these beautiful places where they're kind of like almost limited to like the beach and then like a few blocks back, right?
Yeah, one of the artworks that we have in the shared screen is an example of usual picture or landscape or landmark site in our country, and it's actually like we take pictures. I make the line art on top of it, and I intervene it. So if you can put the shared
Sure.
Right now?
you could see that.
Let me hide this one. Bring this one up.
That's one of the first artworks before the project turning into a new medium like NFTs.
And I think that's also an interesting point about the origin of the project. I think one key thing about the project is it wasn't born specifically as an NFT project. it was like, yeah, for example, that is one of the first illustrations, right, Sam, about forgotten as a concept. And it started being this place where all these forgotten things were, and taking inspiration from El Salvador and the DIY and the abandoned feeling versus the pretty looking things. And then it slowly started evolving into this whole universe where not just forgotten things are, but forgotten kids are, and this creative realm where these forgotten children can live creatively and can survive through creativity in a much more like creative way, but like at an ideal level, right? As a concept.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, even here in like Las Vegas, for example, we have the Strip, and then you have like the Red Rock area, but then there's the tunnels underneath the Strip where they have like hundreds and hundreds of, I mean, maybe even like 1,000 homeless people that all live underneath the tunnels, and
Yeah.
it is kind of like that, in those scenes and that kind of stuff, and they're they could also be like the forgotten in a sense, like it's known, like people know about it, like it's no secret, and then you just go up, and there's people spending millions and millions gambling in slot machines and poker games, and just you, hundreds of feet away.
Yeah, totally.
So Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about the project on the NFT side? Like, I hear you guys did some stuff on. Let me see here. Let me.
So the pre-release, we did a pre-sale on the October 1st, which was the Children's Day here in El Salvador.
Okay.
That was a special date for us. So we released the first 200 kids, and they went away pretty quick.
Nice. And you guys, if I remember right, you guys had some that were on ETH and some that were on Cardano, or how did that work?
Well, one of the things we envisioned at first was doing this big project that went beyond a specific blockchain. And so we
Right.
had this idea to be on Ethereum. Naturally, we we really love the Cardano space and the Cardano blockchain and the technology. And I mean, we all know, right? Like Ethereum has a lot of problems with gas and all the fees and everything. So for these first episodes, we scratched that and we have only done things in Cardano. And
Okay.
the idea of cross chain is something that is in our minds and is something that we would love to explore, but a little bit later.
Oh yeah, they're building side chain,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and tech that'll make 6 months to a year now. Everything's going to be so different.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. But
yeah.
we would love the idea for this to be like a
Solana,
cross thing.
Polkadot,
Yeah,
you'll be able to
Yeah.
you'll be able to wrap these things, move them. The good thing about Cardano is the fact that these are native tokens, and so
exactly.
Mhm.
you'll be able to move them around everywhere and import stuff from ETH and over. And I don't know how well it'll go from Cardano to ETH, but I know the ETH stuff will be able to port over to Cardano with the
Yeah.
converter and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. And when we started making the project, like and seeing our opportunities and what chains will work best and everything, the conversation between us three was like, which one should we pick and etc. But then we changed to that perspective about seeing the medium as NFTs in general and not
Mhm.
specifically a XYZ blockchain NFT, right? So
Mhm.
whichever it is, it's an Ethereum, it's Cardano, whatever. And we've seen that community also makes lots of different ideas into what art should be in which chain, and we don't share that vision because we believe that NFTs in general should be treated as a medium,
Right.
and everything eventually will become cross-chain, and we can use that leverage and and those communities that are already created in all of those blockchains that already have NFTs, and use them in our project, included with the lore. For
Right.
example, if we decide to make our next launch in Ethereum or Tesos or Solana or whatever, we take part in deciding that it has to have a purpose. We are not aligned with minting the same tokens and send them to another chain or whatever. We really believe that everything we do has to have a purpose and has to have a meaning to it. So if we go to Ethereum, it's for something. And if we go to Tesos, it's for something. And we want to translate that in our project. And that's why we from the beginning have stated that it's going to be a cross chain, even though we're starting in Cardano and we love Cardano community. And Cardano in general is what started us in NFTs, but we also have in our collection NFTs from Tesos, from Solana, from Ethereum, in general.
I think a follow-up point to that is that the way we view the project is it's not just an NFT project. One thing that we want to do is, as much as we want to bring the project to other blockchains, to other communities, we also see this project not just as this is a Cardano blockchain project or Ethereum, but it's a whole universe where it has many points of contact with the community. One point of contact, and maybe probably the main one, will be the NFTs. But we are also, for example, exploring the audio side, or we are also preparing a comic right now for the first 200 kids, or later we will explore merch drops, for example, or even art toys or digital experiences or role playing in the Discord. So as the project is like multimedia and multi points of contact, that's the same way we view the blockchains, are just different ways the community can interact with Forgotten.
Nice. And Sam, can you talk a little bit about the difficulties of doing separate chains and the kind of, from a tech side, dev side?
Yeah, I think Robert can go deeper onto this, but in general, everything is a new space. So whichever chain we get into, we have to learn all of the different stuffs that are around and all the different things we have to jump on them. I think we could expand on that.
Yeah, Robert, sorry.
Yeah. So initially, we started doing the project in Cardano, and we knew that we didn't have the same possibilities that we would have with the smart contracts in Ethereum, for example. But now that the smart contracts are being developed, we're looking into that. But doing it cross-chain, we're trying to get the community to participate with us, and we're doing games or activities with the kids in the community, and making them explore or do like some scavenger hunts where they would get some tools, and these tools will point them to different directions. And if the community decides that they want to go towards Tesos, for example, we will plan something lore-based to end up in that blockchain. Or maybe we could have kids that are living in a camp near the sea, and then we go to the open sea. And we then develop a smart contract in Ethereum and do like a collection with the properties that go only with Ethereum. But yeah, we would need to develop like each project on its own, and it would have like its own characteristics.
Nice. That's interesting. And can you talk a little bit more about the audio side of things? Like you said, like Carlos said something about like the audio and the comic book, type of stuff. Rob, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Sam and Carlos were saying, this is like a universe with different mediums. And for the first episode, right now, we did a small preview that you can hear on the website. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to listen
let's see
stream.
if we can try it and see if we can hear it.
Let's go. Guys, I think there's a kid over there.
Where?
Is he okay? Hurry up.
Huh? Wait, what's going on? Where's everybody going?
Stop asking questions. Let's go. Get going. Come on. Everything's gonna be okay. We just gotta keep on moving.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, let me get my things. My things? A water container? A small knife? 2 coins? 1 lighter and some rope. a notebook and a pencil. What? What?
Is that what I think it is? What is it? What is it? Guys, I think it's a map. Is he a scout? Another scout?
What should we call you?
Guys, let him breathe.
My name is, I can't remember. I think I forgot.
Yeah, we all forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have names, but somehow we don't remember. We forgot.
Doesn't matter. We don't need them. Hey guys, come on. We must keep moving.
Let's go.
But where are we going?
You'll see. We're almost there.
Welcome to the Forgotten Realms.
Nice. Could you guys hear that? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure because it's one of those things that, like, with this software, this program, it's hard to tell whether or not I'm hearing it because it's on my computer or I'm hearing it, through you guys as
Yeah.
well.
So this was a pilot for us to help introduce people to the whole concept or the universe, where you can tell that some kid popped up in this forgotten realm, and he found some stuff in his backpack, and all the kids were like, what you got there? And he found a map. So there's some properties that you can hear this in this small story, that the kids have roles, for example. The kids have camps, and maybe Sam, you can tell a little bit of the story of the kids when they come to the universe.
Okay, so the idea is that each kid just appears in this new dimension, right? So in this new realm, they don't really know where they've been, who they are, who they were, who they were connected to. They're just blank in some post-apocalyptic world with wilderness, and these kids in the specific, they arrive here in a forest, and lots of different trees and plants and etc. And their main purpose now that they arrive is to discover why are they there, or what can they do there, or if anybody else is there, and that's pretty much the premise of the story. And as time goes on, different details, some from the community, some from our storytelling that we have defined and that we're continuing building, starts popping up in different mediums and different forms into the community, and it's a constant feedback that we are creating this universe with everyone.
It reminds me a lot of the Peter Pan's Lost Boys in a sense, but mainly there was a movie back in the 80s or early 90s called Little Monsters with Fred Savage, where there was a monsters under his bed, and he catches one, he does this Home Alone thing and traps the monster. I think it was played by Howie Mandel, and the monster can't be in the sunlight in the daytime, so he lets the monster go back to his world, and then they become kind of friends, and the kid goes under the bed with him to their world, and there's a whole bunch of other kids there, and kids start slowly getting sucked into the world, with video games and all this kind of stuff, and candy and all the food that they can eat, and they slowly start forgetting who they were, and they slowly start becoming these monsters, right? And so it's also almost like a parody of in some of these countries when these kids get sucked into the gangs and the stuff with candy, with jewelry, with status, and then they slowly start losing their identity in their childhood and get turned into these monsters or type of things in a sense. And it was a pretty good movie when I was a kid. It's called Little Monsters. You might want to check it out.
I'm already here in Google. Some of the other stuff that has inspired us into building this universe and everything, Lord of the Flies, for example. That's one awesome book. Also some pretty nice games like Death Stranding or The Last of Us or Zelda and all of that series. And we are pretty hardcore D&D players.
Nice.
So
Me too.
awesome. So yeah, we've been playing one main game like for almost 4 years. Right now we're taking a little bit of a break since I just moved here, but we are deep down into lore and exploring and continuity and having fun making stories with people.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I've tried. I've never gotten into like a long-term campaign. I'd love to, but most of them break down after like 8 weeks or so.
No, we have been playing for so long that our second or third campaign has the same characters as the first one, and it's just crazy to see like these crossovers.
You might also check out this game. I think it's still in early access, but I bought it a few years ago. It's kind of it's called Aftermath, I think it is. And you start off, it's one of those like civilization builder things, and it's set after like a thing, and you basically set up a camp in a wasteland. And then as your camp grows, people can come knocking on your gates, and you can recruit them, and then you can go scouting like all the other lands. And as you go, and drive around, and you come across other encampments and that kind of stuff. It's a pretty fun game.
Sounds like you're talking about or Forgotten.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should check it out. It's I think it's called Aftermath.
Totally.
Is it Surviving the Aftermath?
Surviving the Aftermath, yes.
Yeah.
It's just releasing today.
No, last year, 1 year ago.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, it's one of those that are just like in early access for like many, many years, and they keep doing an update after update after update. They just never release it, I think. It feels like. I played it for a bit. It was like, all right, I'll wait to come back after it's like done.
Yeah, so the same idea. Kids gather into camps. First, maybe one kid found another one, and they start like building this camp. And now that more kids are coming into the world, they start making all these fortresses because the first like intrinsic danger of the world is surviving.
Right.
And that community that we're building online, it's also reflective in the lore and the community we're building inside the Forgotten.
So my mind works by like cross-referencing other media. So I was thinking there was also a Showtime show with Malcolm Jamal Warner. I think it had Sean, the guy who played Sam in Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin. And it was a world where everybody over the age of puberty got sick and died, right? And so then it was just left with the world was just left with children, and the show takes place about 10 or 15 years later, or and it was just all these kids had raised themselves, and things would get
I think that's definitely I think that's definitely a strong idea we're exploring, and that's why if you see the art, one of the things we always talk about when creating the assets, when Sam is creating the assets, is how would this look if there were no adults around? Like, would it be all scribbled up? Would it be like all colorful? How would the kids like cut their hair if there were no adults, right? Yeah. So it's definitely something like, on the website you have there on the bottom
you can
left,
see that some of them have the stickers on their face.
Yeah. For example, the journal is all with stickers and with a bunch of scribbles and everything. Like the helmet is all stickered up and it's
that's what I think you guys do really well, because anybody knows, right? With the mentality of where some kids grow up too fast, right? And they can mature, but at the same time, like I have a nephew who tests off the chart, super smart, right? But at the same time, like the other day, he was playing around learning Morse code and teaching him. He's like 10, right? And he's teaching him, and he wrote a love letter to this little girl in his class, but it was
In
a
Morse.
cipher. Well, no, it was a cipher that like she had to break the code. Like it was like a 3-letter, like the third letter
Yes.
back code, and then that spelled out Morse code, and then so she had to solve the Morse code, and it said like "you're beautiful" or something like that for Halloween.
Wow.
But like the other day, but like a week before, he was learning Morse code by watching YouTube, and he comes out, look, I wrote poop in Morse code. You know what I mean? So it's like they can be smart and mature in one way, right? But still be a child in the other.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally like the thing we're going for, because they have this like weird technology gizmos and gadgets that it's only because they can do that, but it's always like creatively infused.
Yeah, and so
Talk
it's like,
about the roles of the kids, because in the metadata we have roles like clerics, we have tinkerers, we have foragers, but the clerics, and we know from RPG games that are like these magicians and stuff, but here the clerics are not magicians. These are kids that make you feel better because of this creative world, right? So maybe a cleric is just the one that puts a band-aid for you to feel better.
right, or just tells you, hey, have a nice day.
Yeah, or a hugger.
Yeah. Nice. Well, like I said, I really, really stand behind the project, and from what I'm hearing, and everything is amazing. I like the art. I'm guessing you guys were also fans of the Gorillas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
Strong
And
inspiration there.
yeah, and I wanted to thank you guys for coming on. And was there anything else, before we go, that you want to touch base on?
You know what? You can maybe show a little tease of the comic, because
Sure.
the story you heard here in the website, we're translating that into a comic
Is
with some of
that
the kids from the
the
community.
slog?
No,
Or where's-
the audio file.
It's on it's on Sampo's screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So to tell you a little bit about that, we did a small competition between the camps of the current 200 kids,
Mhm.
and one of the camps is called Ripio, and they won the competition. So one of their kids is the protagonist of the comic we made,
Nice.
and maybe you want to show a sneak peek.
Yeah, sure.
There it is.
So here's for first ever the sneak peek for the comic. We're still missing some details, and we're gonna still working it just a little bit more.
Mhm.
But the idea is that people get a grasp, but we're just not making a proper project, and that it's with massive numbers and nothing copy paste here. It's more about building this universe and this transmedia experience for everyone. So we might be discussing something in the Discord, or we might be doing something on Twitter or whatever, and maybe it can be reflected on some art. And this especially was for example, this is the kid. The main protagonist is the kid that won like the contest, and the other ones are other people from the
Ripio.
actual camp from Ripio. And the idea is that with different art, we can be adding up all these lore and all these interesting experiences for people, and so they can see their own, for example, their own kid featured somewhere else, and having all this stuff. And we're constantly making all these activities, and have lots of them prepared right now for the episode 1.
Nice. So next year at cNFTcon in Vegas, I'm expecting you guys to be there with the graphic novels for sale.
Of course.
Physical ones.
Yeah, it will be awesome.
Totally on the plan.
And the
All right.
last thing I would like to talk about is about the giving back part for the project. So I
Okay.
think that's really important. We already talked about the country, El Salvador, and all these different contrasts we have with the whole difference of creativity in the world, and this reconnecting with children and everything. So part of the objectives we set up when we were making this project is using the project to give back to El Salvador and the kids in the country, and maybe working somehow the access of creativity and all these different development for them. And that would be like really awesome for us. So we're making that part of the project. The idea is to work with different NGOs in El Salvador that can help all these kids connect with creativity, because it's not just about dancing or drawing or reading or writing. It's about how these creative tools turn as you grow up into tools that can unlock the world for you.
Right.
For example, creativity or having your kid drawing or giving into all those creative and expression impulsion and trying to make stuff will eventually evolve into critical thinking. Will eventually evolve into problem solving. So we want to help kids in El Salvador with all these tools that we can, and that will make us like a great fulfillment for the project, and
Give them
having
all iPads with Procreate, right?
that will be awesome.
That's it.
I know one of my nephews is 6, and he's drawing at least 4 or 5 hours a day now, and got him a whole bunch of pencils, colored pencils, kits, and books, and he sits on YouTube and just watches how to draw tutorials, and then draws all day.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome
amazing.
that the internet has helped lots of people get access to education that beforehand it was pretty difficult.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you guys are doing this project. I really love it, and especially the detail and everything. So keep up the good work, and I want to see more. And everybody go check out fortgotten.com. And thanks again for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us. It was a pleasure.